Hey everyone, Forever2 here, and welcome back to Reverse 1999 for a new anecdote that is just here for the entire week, or at least 4 days left here. Now, this came out, like I said before, in Chapter 12, when Chapter 12 came out, and we are going to go over Moldir's anecdote called In the Shadow of the Mountains. Hopefully, we will learn more about Moldir, how she became a top lieutenant in Igor's army, and how did they find her. And of course, this is one of those things, just like which one was it again? Matilda's thing? Yeah. So in the valley outside the ancient city of Icano, along the riverbank, young riders grip their reins as they make their way back toward the village garrison. At the head of the column lies the lieutenant on her red-brown Alcaltech. Alright, so while Igor fights in the front, his eldest child has been placed in another task. So that's where she was, apparently. So it is said that the Alcaltech carries the blood of the first horses. They are stubborn, with a wild spirit. But once broken in, their loyalty is unshakable. In the east, old tales claim they could run for hundreds of miles in a single day, until their sweat turned red as blood, which is weird as well. Alright, and behind her, the slanting sun sweeps westward, hanging alone at the edge of the earth. Snow peaks rise with solemn majesty, catching the late fall afterglow before casting their shadows downward. The horsemen ride through this ancient dusk, winding their way back toward the garrison. Their luck has run thin today. Several soldiers lost their way, and the rendezvous has been set an hour late to give them time to rejoin the column. Out of consideration for her new recruits, young soldiers nearly arrived to this unfamiliar land. She holds out just a little longer, and her fortunes turn as Lieutenant Moldir prepares to send riders out to search. Her stragglers finally appear on the hillside, overdue but unharmed. Pikata, we need to be back before nightfall. Is everyone accounted for? She lifts the reins, and her horse rises before breaking into a few quick strides, circling back along the flank of the column toward the rear. 6, 7, 8. She counts each rider, making certain each man and mount match. No soldier left behind, no horse allowed to lose its way home. Fyodor, what are you carrying in those side pouches? She brings her horse to a halt beside one of the soldiers, turns to mount, and rides in step with the young soldier, pointing to the crude burlap pouches hanging from his saddle. Picked up a few fine catches this afternoon. Nothing beats hunting at this time of the year. The soldier loosens the pouches and proudly shows his treasures to his commanding officer. Be prepared. Be prepared. We could be sent to the front any time. Yeah, I'm itchy to go. The young soldier laughs, glancing back at his comrades. We've been waiting for it. This is how all young men should live. On horseback, rifle in hand, carving out glorious legends on the battlefield. Aye, aye, indeed. His headstrong words earn a cheer from the others. Just watch. We'll pick off the enemy one by one, like hunting rabbits. With what rifle? Seems you're a decent enough shot. Naturally, no one brings in more game than I do. Every shot bags a kill with me. I never miss. The lieutenant presses into her stirrup, draws close to Fyodor, then snatches the rifle slung over his shoulder.
I don't think so.
We didn't have any shooting drills today. I did not give you permission to fire your weapon. With that, she changes her tone, confiscates the rifle, and quickly pulls back onto her mount. Order must be maintained, Fyodor. If you don't know when to pull the trigger, you will hand the gun over to me. I don't want this to happen again. She raises her voice, issuing the order to everyone in line. Drop whatever you've hunted. All of you. Yes, ma'am. With the confiscated rifle in hand, she urges her horse forward, returns to the head of the column, and turns to deliver her command. I understand your enthusiasm, but orders come before everything. Discipline above all else. Right? Now get rid of anything you weren't carrying when you left camp. As the last word leaves her mouth, she nudges her boot against her horse's flank, The mount catches the signal at once, its pace quickening until it surges into a gallop. She grips the reins with both hands and leans forward, rising and falling like a wave in time with the apparantly gallop. Keep up! Riding at the front, the lieutenant leans into the wind and glances back. The riders who had been idling along the river earlier are now picking up speed to keep pace with her. Among them are both the so-called rebels, withdrawn from Antarctica, and the young recruits the Admiral has gathered since returning to this era. Few of the former remain, while the latter, like Fyodor, make up the bulk of the column. Hooves hammer the earth, their numbers causing the earth to tremble around them, holding a tight formation as they approach the garrison. The lieutenant rides a good 7 or 8 lengths ahead, watching the line behind her as she scolds herself beneath her breath. Give them a little more time. We'll make them soldiers soon enough. A stray wave of nostalgia rises up in her chest. Old memories drift around her like ghosts. She closes her eyes to empty her thoughts and fall into a rhythm, with the horse beneath her. For a girl born deep on the inland steppes of Asia, all of this comes easy. With so much of her time wrapped up in military duties and camp chores, the chance to ride feels like a long-awaited rest. It's a fleeting and precious rest, letting her soul run free in the brush of the evening wind. Make the most of it, boys. Last one back to camp is on stable duty with Fyodor. She calls out the command, and somewhere behind her, a loud wail rises, chased by bursts of laughter. The horse keeps their pace, the sun falling lower as the group nears the village where they're stationed. So tap repeatedly to light fighter. Wait, I didn't get to see review. What is a review? I just clicked it. Oh well. Their camp sits in a riverside village beyond the ancient city of Kalnum, not far from the ruins where her unit has set up camp. By the time the lieutenant returns with her right... Hold on a second. Alrighty, apologies. I had a phone call that you might have heard in the background. Alright, where was I? By the time the lieutenant returns with her riders, the sun has only just dipped behind the peak. For the locals, that means night has already fallen. Make sure he's fed. She is the first to step down from the stirrup, offering a long and reassuring pat to the apparantly that has carried her all day. After a gentle reminder, she hands the reins to the stable boy. Soon enough, her men dismount and gather around her, chatting idly over the day's training and their detour. Still talking and laughing, she makes her way toward the firelit courtyard. Is that so? Go have Dr. Elena take a look. If you can still walk, jump, and carry things, it probably isn't anything serious. She lifts the new recruit's sleeve, revealing the mark left from his fall off the horse earlier in the day. Nothing serious. At your age, I hit the ground far worse and far more often. With that, she pats the young men on the shoulder and sends them all off, walking alone toward a courtyard fenced in by earthen walls. The fire represents the villagers' welcome, a sign of life, and good intent. People gather around it, passing tea, dried fruit, and warm smiles. Here, all is calm and quiet. Far from war and turmoil, the lieutenant approaches the village elder, and the aging man meets her with a grin. Drag traveler from afar. May the flame light your path. Thank you. The lieutenant takes the bowl of milk wine in both hands and finishes it with a single gulp. Milk wine? Is it really good? Not sure. She recognizes the flavor, a taste of her childhood, long before she donned a soldier's uniform, in the safety of her grandmother's home. A life that was simple and carefree. Now, after leaving the frozen wastes of Antarctica and returning to an unfamiliar age, she has taken on a new assignment, traveling to the far eastern highlands and river valleys to take command of a newly reformed unit, with orders to make them ready for the battles ahead. We'll be staying here for a few days, sir. Thank you for taking us in. She takes a seat beneath the thick trunk of a desert poplar. If that's how you pronounce that. Her eyes lingering on the bonfire burning nearby. The blaze gives off a faint warmth even at this distance. In the courtyard beyond, the troops and the ever-hospitable villagers mingle and joke as they pass around milk wine, salted lamb, and thick stuffed samsa pastries. The fire's light creates a tiny patch of life in the still darkness, an island of peace in this age of war. We welcome our guests, as we always have. But tell me, what name should I give my people when they ask who you are? Now this is where I don't know if I should choose or not. An admiral's adjutant or a senior officer. Now I'm weighing my options here because, like in Matilda's story, there are choices that will unlock options. Now, I'm just thinking real hard on this one. Like, I really am thinking of this one. I'm not sure if there are endings as well. So I would either an admiral's adjutant or a senior officer. I'm not sure if there are like. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. I think I know there's like both endings, I believe. So, we could say a senior officer. I want to say a senior officer. I am an officer from the Senior Arms Academy. The lie curls on her tongue, but then she reminds herself that, though she may not bear the title, her life is nonetheless bound to Sino through her past, her adoptive father, and the sisters and brothers she grew up with. Academy. Now, I could go back and choose, but I could probably just choose one of them. Honestly, I could have just picked one ending here. There is a touch of doubt in his hoarse voice. The firelight paints his white beard with streaks of burning red. It's where soldiers like me are trained. My ancestors were fighters too. They came from far away across the Western Sea and made their home here. Yes, I know. That is why I've come here. I seek your support, Elder. She states her purpose plainly, to recruit more soldiers for her father's army and to strengthen their influence in the remote regions along their rear flank. The old man's eyes narrow, revealing a depth of wisdom behind his gaze. And what would you give us in return, officer? Protection. She names her terms with a steady, unguarded honesty. Her father stationed her here so she could drum up support for the front lines, and so she could win over every force that has not yet chosen to oppose them. Stone by stone, a citadel rises. Small gains become towering strength. The lieutenant understands this well. If the battle wars in the west, she then rides east to gather allies. Our troops in Aikahum are more than enough to maintain peace in this region. Peace. Simple, direct, and powerful. The old man holds a long silence, opening his shaking right hand as though playing the village before his far-traveled guest. This particular village has been built around a medieval citadel, which climbs up the mountainside, pressed tight against the slope, overlooking the pass along the river moving east to west. It's a perfect choke point. When my ancestors mounted their horses and drew their curved blades, they were warriors. When they dismounted and donned their robes, they were merchants. From east to west, west to east. This is how we have lived for 20-odd centuries. We are friends to all who meet us. As he speaks, the man waves someone over. A girl in her early teens comes at his gesture, her face glowing in the firelight like an unripe little orange. This is my last remaining granddaughter. My brothers answered the call from the north and have gone far from here. I'm Lieutenant Moldir. I'm very pleased to meet you. The lieutenant rises and following the local custom, touches her right cheek to the girl's, then her left, in a gesture of goodwill. The girl nods respectfully as she steps to her elder's side. If you wish, I would ready my finest horse for her and allow her to join you as one of your warriors. No, you just said that she was your last granddaughter. The lieutenant's composure wavers for a moment. I did not expect you to refuse another woman in your company. The old man looks at the lieutenant with a long, knowing gaze. No, that isn't what I meant. I'm hoping to find more fighters of the right age here. Everyone in this village can trace their blood back to the same heroic ancestors. Her father and brothers have never brought shame upon us. The old man takes his granddaughter by the hand. You're just as good as those rowdy boys, aren't you? The young girl offers a silent nod. Ma'am, please take her along. Look after her, and let her fight at your side like a hawk. Faced with a sudden request, the lieutenant pauses, searching for a reply. The girl's eyes are like polished jade, green as the grass in spring. The lieutenant can't help thinking that the girl belongs tending to a pasture, not fighting on a battlefield. Perhaps the life she has now would suit her better. Why would you? She looks toward the girl, and in this unfamiliar young face, she catches a fleeting glimpse of someone she once knew. Pastures and herds. They're her own childhood and the peaceful life that is all this mere child knows. She should be holding a docile lamb, not lifting a rifle. I don't have many days left. The old man strokes his beard. Age has worn him down. He can no longer even draw a bowstring. The vigor of his youth eroded like a wind-edged stone. He turns back to the guest beside him. The bonfire casts shadows of the village along the mountainside. In its glow, they seem to honor the ancient gods they've served for ages. Light, flame, and the good that stands against its eternal enemy. The trade roads have been cut off for years now, and no caravan bells have echoed through the valley for generations. The fortress built into the cliffside is a crumbling ruin, hewn like a sandcastle carved from red stone, slowly slipping out of time's remembrance. Peace. This is something we are well acquainted with. He braces himself on his lapis lazuli cane and takes a step forward. But I also know the price of peace. That is why they listen to me, and why they will listen to those who come after me. The old man answers, his voice never rising above an even tone, like the wind softly whipping through the mountains. The support you ask will be yours. But first, I would like to know more about you, our visitors from far away. The flames reveal all. Come, let us speak by their light. A few soldiers, their caps and jackets off, walk toward them. When they see the village elder shaking his hand with their commanding officer, their smiles vanish. Pardon me, I'm not interrupting, am I? What is it? It's nothing, really. We just wanted to... The young men glance at one another, rubbing their backs off their necks, clearly unsure of how to proceed. We just wanted to ask if you wanted to dance with us. It's an earnest, friendly invitation from the boys who, just earlier, were over by the fire dancing arm in arm with the villagers. Oh, so that's what this is about. The lieutenant lets out a quiet laugh, covering her mouth before giving a small wave of her hand. We still have matters to discuss. I'll join you later. Okay, but actually, I have one more question. Just a quick one. Speak. A girl over there just asked if I had the guts to kiss her, and I don't know what to do. Why are you talking to her about this, my dude? I mean, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know if she can answer that. His face goes beet red as he blurs out the words. She looks at him and laughs. He is her family and also an ace pilot who earned his merits in Antarctica. Where has your courage gone, soldier? You would fly into the jaws of death but run from the lips of a pretty girl. Do you need my permission? Go on then. Don't keep her waiting. Yes, ma'am. It's like she's the big sister of these soldiers. Yeah, it is. It is. After giving a comically awkward salute, the soldiers trot off toward the crowd. She lets her smile fade, then turns to walk after the old man, heading toward the fire and coming to a stop beside the stacked logs. On the way over, the old man hands her an almond. Thank you. You're probably not used to flavors this bitter, but we're quite fond of them here. The lieutenant holds the almond between her fingers and eats it. The flavor is sharper than she expected, upturning her face into a scowl before she manages to swallow it. You're right about that. Bitterness clears the mind. Before the fire, we speak no lies. A deeper understanding between us will serve our future collaboration well. When they reach the bonfire, the old man slips on a white cloth mask as if fearing his aging breath would profane their sacred flame. The lieutenant approaches the flame with a touch of hesitation, the rich, stark smell of smoke lingering on her nose and lips. Step closer. Do not fear it. The flames will reveal the truth in your hearts. What do you see? Let's see. A courtyard in the pouring rain and the barrel of a gun, or a girl on horseback riding across from the grasslands. Let's see. I didn't answer the first one. I think I might go with either the second one or... I'm not sure if like one ending's like you have to choose one answer above or the second answer here and there. Like we could probably just do ending 1 or ending 2. You know what? I chose the bottom answer. I might as well just go ahead and do the bottom answer because why not? You know? Because I think I'll do that. I chose the bottom answer. Actually, you know what? I don't think the first... I'm trying to think. Is the first answer will always be like... gonna matter? Let's go with the upper answer first. Different choices may lead to different outcomes. So, the first question I had to answer didn't even matter much. But I'll pick it for the dialogue options. So, different choices may lead to different outcomes. So, I raised a weapon against my own family. But the ending may shift in ways both subtle and profound. I fired at her in the pouring rain. I abandoned her. The memories flickering in the flames make her throat tighten. You must have had no choice. Something must have forced your hand. And yeah, I think it did. I honestly think it did. No, I knew exactly what I was doing. I see my past. Everything that made me who I am. To be continued. Alright, so we got a dog tag. What is review? Oh, never mind. So we got 4 items, right? I guess. And how do I... Okay. Well, I've already picked it anyway. Their camp sits in a riverside village beyond the ancient city of Ikohum, not far from the ruins where her unit has set up camp. By the time the lieutenant returns to her with her riders, the sun has only just dipped behind... Wait, didn't I already pick it? Wait a minute. Alright. I think I already picked it. Alright, let's pick this one this time. Alright, let's try this again. Okay. 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 Okay, so I had to go through this again and again. It won't let me go through anything really. So let's pick Admiral's adjutant here just for the dialogue options. We've come from further north. My father commands a unit there in the Don River region. Father. A hetman. As the other speaks the title, he raises up his pipe and pulls in a deep breath. Firelight spills from across his line-weathered face, tracing every crease and old scar. Yes, a hetman. And a respected one. That's a fair way of putting it. My ashes were fired too. They come from Alright. Alright. So we've picked up the courtyard in the pouring rain and the barrel of the gun. Now let's take a girl on horseback, riding across the grasslands. Your decision changes what is yet to come. A dusk and a band of horses. They race across the grasslands that seem to stretch on forever, and a girl rides with them. I know that young rider. She was always like that, riding beyond the horizon, stopping only when her horse chose to rest, lifting her face to stare at the stars above. She wanted to become a scientist, just like her mother. But fate had other ideas. In the end, she picked up a gun. Her hand moves to her sidearm before she even thinks about it. It's a gesture long since ingrained in her. We are nothing more than driftwood carried on the current. You're right. I see my past. Everything that made me who I am. Okay. So, I'm honestly not sure how am I gonna, like, choose it. Okay. So, alright. So we already chose two endings here. And I've already did that. The bullet and the farewell. The lieutenant drifts back into her memories, slowly tracing her way through the past. Seizing the moment, she begins telling the old man a story about a girl she knows better than anyone. A girl no one can ever know all as well. When I was 16, I received two pieces of paper. Red and orange firelight washes over her face. While outside its glow, people laugh and dance, fluttering through the shadows like butterflies, beating their wings toward another world. The first told me that my parents were gone. The second that I had a new father. The lieutenant murmurs in the words to herself by the fire. Okay. Then no one ever asked what I thought, and back then, not one choice in my life was mine to make. She makes herself a little space by the fire and sits, left leg relaxed and bent, hands resting at her sides, vision locked on the burning embers. The old man stands beside her, listening in silence. I was his first child. No other soldier has remained at his side as long as I have. Some he took in after me, and some fought beside him long before I arrived, but few have made it all the way to now. That day, the Admiral, my adopted father, took me to the Hall of Merit at headquarters. She picks up a dry twig and stirs the fire with it. Solemn, silent, they call it a memorial hall, a place that houses the deeds of the fallen. Whether soldier or commander, the fallen all have a place there. Cold metal, stone, and light. A far cry from the warm, living fire before her. I found my mother's and father's names there. My biological father. They sacrificed their lives for a worthy cause. Heroes and martyrs both. And She pauses, waiting for the words to come. I am the child of martyrs, yet I find myself on a path I never could have dreamed of. A wry smile crosses her face, an acknowledgement of fate's cruel irony. Seeing their portraits, I felt a strange calm, hoping that one day I, too, could be there beside them. Unfortunately, that hope became reality. Why do you say unfortunately? The old man doesn't look at her. He keeps his eyes steady on the flame, his expression neutral. I've been told that my adopted father's name and mine are now etched into that hall. She answers with a bitter smile. I can't say if it was meant as a joke or an insult, but I know that I'll never have the chance to see it with my own eyes. Will our past honors be preserved? Will I bring shame to my parents' legacy? They called us traitors. She shakes her head, looking at the old man, but he remains motionless. We are nothing more than driftwood carried on the current. He repeats this earlier words. The crackling firelight dances over his face. That this is your story. It's part of my story. Fate has treated me well. It took one family from me, then gave me another, like those 2 letters. The Admiral took in other orphans like me, bringing them under his command, at the Arms Academy or at his camp. As his daughter, I was given authority over the youngest adoptees. In better times, they should have still been in their parents' arms, not fighting in some cold barren field being corralled and commanded to obey. My granddaughter was the same way when she was a child. A wild little foal, always so stubborn and fierce. I thought she'd be as gentle as she looks. She laughs softly and bitterly before she returns to the topic. Not long after, my father brought a few boys to join us. They were close as cubs raised in the same den. But years passed, and the young cubs fell until only Ptolemy was left. War took his brothers, and along with them, and I. He became cold and cruel after that, twisted by one mission after another. 10 set out, and only 3 returned. If he were numb to it at all, he'd have learned to disregard death, to the point where his own life would mean nothing, and he'd become a fugitive. And if he wasn't, every one of their deaths turned that anger further inward, and each turn made him that much more ruthless. And I can't blame him, because I know what molded him. Even so, I know his sins cannot be washed away. The words come out calm without condemnation. But you still see him as your family. Family. Always. The same as these boys. The lieutenant tilts her head with a half-hearted smile as she gestures toward the other side of the fire. A few of the soldiers spot their sister and wave from afar, holding a half-roasted lamb leg. I just hope that this time they'll get to live, not just survive. But they're hungry for battle. Many of them think it will be like hunting rabbits on the steppe. But in war, the hunters and the hunted are one and the same. All they know of death and sacrifice comes from stories or propaganda. A trace of disgust flickers across her face. I hope that it will all be as easy as they think. Many honor and glory. She sighs. Honor, glory. The words glimmer like 2 metals soaked in blood. So you see these soldiers as your family? Yes, they are all my brothers. I also have a sister. And your sister? What kind of person did she turn out to be? She's still the same stubborn little girl. Luckier than Ptolemy. 2 emotions cross her face and battle beneath the surface. Nostalgia and regret. The last time I saw her, we had raised our guns toward one another. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that indeed. Hey, what's this reward here? Hang on. Okay. So let's unlock ending 1 and 2. Yeah, let me see review. Oh, the bullet and the farewell. Huh. You know what? Let's look at this real quick. I used to call her Para. Para Lopera. There wasn't any trick to the name. It was short and simple. First, press your lips together, then part them, and gently drop your tongue toward your chin. It sounds light, floral maybe, like the frail creature I saw when I met her. An unripe orange, fallen to the ground too soon. Do oranges grow around here? She asked the old man, who gently shakes his head. Right, I'd never seen an orange back home either. She asks herself a question, then answers it. Tartar than grapes, sweeter than plums. A runaway child. Father brought her in, and we couldn't help but be curious about the little girl with her orange hair. Ptolemy sized her up with his one good eye. I remember the first thing he said to her. You're shorter than I expected. She mimics her brother's tone as she speaks. Lopera walked right up to him, stood up on her tiptoes, and pulled him down by the collar. Calling me short again. I dare you. And just like that, we were all laughing. Ptolemy could still laugh back then, but not Father. Even then, he stood there, solid as stone. I could see him watching her with that cold, calculating gaze, studying her, waiting for her next move. I know what he must have been thinking. Most fathers would feel the same. Ptolemy. Naturally, I couldn't help but meet the challenge. He went down a list of words. Runt, shrimp, short stuff, as if he had them prepared. He's always had a cruel sense of humor. Father and I simply sat back and waited for what would happen next. She sighs. Reliving these memories has been a welcome rest from her exhaustion and mental strain. For months she hasn't had a moment's rest, working to keep her peoples together, backing her father, and at times fretting over the sister who chose a different path. She practically leaped as she yanked down his collar. Ptolemy tumbled over her shoulder like a sack of oats. I can still remember that stunned look on his face, staring up at the sky. Then we all turned to Father. I already knew what we would see. The same nearly imperceptible smile he gave any of us when he was pleased. Ptolemy was furious. He pulled her down into the mud right along with him. The training grounds were always muddy, even on sunny days. I think that was by design. I tried to pull them apart, yelled at them to stop, but Ptolemy had long since stopped listening to me. And Lopera? I'm not sure she ever did. There was nothing I could do. She says it with a smile. Eventually, I managed to grab a hold of my new sister, like grabbing an orange, and pulled her out from the muck. Ptolemy reached for her, but I stood in his way. I told him he needed to cool off. That was their first fight. Certainly not the last. I'm sure those two fought more than anyone else. All of our siblings fought. Father encouraged it. He believed it made us tougher, more resilient. Sometimes that was true. The old man nods, as if in agreement. I taught her how to hold a gun. I also taught her how to ride, how to match the horse's rhythm, and how to aim while on horseback. Happy memories flood onto to the surface, playing out like a movie lit by the flickering flames. That's how things were, the good and the bad. But things change. The sun has long since set, and a clear starry sky has replaced it. The chill mountain air creeps up from this darkness, making the bonfire's heat feel all the more precious. She shifts her gaze from the fire to the moon, a familiar sight in an unfamiliar time. We come from somewhere very far away. She tells her story. But no matter where we go, the moon is the same. When I was young, I would often sit with my grandmother and watch it as it hung above the sky. Later, whenever we weren't on patrol or training late, my sister and I would do the same. I remember once, when she was still young, she ran up to me, tugging at my sleeve, saying, "Molly, I've got something to show you." She pulled me up from my desk and dragged me outside. I followed her to the courtyard, and there was that pale moon. She stood beside me, looking up at it. The lieutenant lets her head fall back, looking up at the dark and starry sky. "You left her." "Yes, I did. She was free to follow her own sense of right and wrong, to choose a different path. That's who she is, and that's how it should be. I wonder if she still looks up in the sky and thinks of me." She closes her eyes. I told her once, "We're soldiers. Goodbye is a luxury in our profession." Ptolemy understood that all too well, and so did the other soldiers. But Lepera never seemed to take it seriously. She thought of it like a game. She hesitates. It wasn't. Let me grab my drink. Sometimes narrating this is just making my throat dry. She casts a glance at the soldiers singing and dancing with the villagers. Now we could continue on with this story here to glimpse into your heart, or we could continue on. I think I would rather just hang on. Okay, so I get it. We look back into the memories, and we can unlock those. You know what? I'll just do that right then. I'll just do that right about then, and I'll just keep on doing it because why not, right? Most of them have never shot at anything that could shoot back. Rabbits, birds, deer, maybe a wolf or a bear. A hunter is not a soldier just because he can fire a rifle. No more than climbing on a horse that makes you a knight. The old man nods in firm agreement. You speak truly. To be a soldier is to be both the best and the worst of humanity. I still remember their names. Her voice trails off. After taking 2 deep breaths, she begins again, reciting the names as if they were a song of vow. Marshall, who was always better with a sword than a gun. Whitewood, who took better care of his books than his rifle. And Facilia, with her falcon. Alright, so Marshall, a fallen Sino soldier killed in action at 19 years of age in the southern foothills of the Caucasus on April 14th, 1966. Whitewood, another fallen soldier who lost at sea at 20 years of age after the Cape of Good Hope shipwreck on October 3rd, 1913. Jeez. And Facilia, killed in action at 22 years of age in the southern Balkans on November 25th, 1912. Their names linger as ghostly wisps in the night air. Lopera and I were supposed to go out on a mission. It was our first opportunity to witness a battlefield firsthand. But just before we left, Father decided to leave the 2 of us behind. Let's see. I could answer I just don't understand why, or I remember how disappointed she was. Alright, we could say I still don't understand why. Let's go with that. We were still at the station, waiting for the train, when the messenger showed up with orders for us to turn back to base. I mean, I could answer that one easily. I'll just choose the first option, then we'll just do that. By the time I finished reading, the train had pulled into the station. The others started getting on, one after another. The disappointment on her face hardened into something else. Sadness became protest. Protest turned to rage. All I could do was grab her hand and tell her to follow orders. I didn't understand Father's reasoning, but I followed his orders. Just as I always have. I keep my opinions to myself, and I follow my orders. Fate brought me to my father, and then, one after another, brought others to our side. They would come and go, live and die, then more would come, orphans created by and for war. Exhaustion lingers in her voice. War forces us to grow, to adapt to our conditions, to the brutality around us. It's not right to say grow. We survive. Those that adapt survive. She bites down on her lower lip, her brow furrowing. My sister has been on many missions, but I don't know if she's ever seen that side of war for herself. I never got the chance to ask. I never wanted to. She opens her hands. I hope not. I hope in some way she never has to adapt to the cruelties that I have. The brutal calculus of demand. She's suited to what she does. She isn't meant for the front lines. The old man pulls an almond from his sleeve and hands it to her. Thank you. The lieutenant takes it, her face scrunching involuntarily, anticipating the oncoming tartness. And what was it that changed you? A battle that wasn't worth remembering. When I shot a man I didn't know. Years ago, the Admiral brought his daughter to the battlefield. They flew in during the final days of the war. She was still being trained as an officer. From the window of their plane, she could see husks of concrete buildings jutting out like bones over the scarred landscape. It was her first real taste of the battle, an assault on a fortified position. We secured the street. We had tanks then, large armored vehicles with cannons. She explains for the man, though perhaps even the notion of a motor vehicle might elude him. But tanks are no use in taking a building. I led the troops in. I think we had reached the 3rd or 4th floor without opposition. And I heard a voice. A man speaking in a language I didn't know. I turned to see a stranger. It didn't take long before she saw me too. I reached for my gun. He raised his. The lieutenant taps her thumb on her chest, signaling with a small gesture. The old man nods in understanding, his wrinkled thumb turning the lapis lazuli beads on his wrist. I reacted on instinct. father's training. It was over in a single shot. She sighs. Then, I don't know why, but I crumpled to the ground and lay down. My mind went blank. My comrades came running over. They thought I'd been hit. Her hand trembles on her chest. The moment replays itself in her mind. They told me I was crying and throwing up as they dragged me out to safety. All that training, all that was expected of me, honor or glory, a martyr's death. But I only killed that man because I was afraid to die myself. I couldn't escape the look on his face as I shot him. For a long time after, even in training, if I heard a gunshot, I would feel sick to my stomach. Until one day I changed. That sickness in my stomach just went away. Or maybe I'll learn to live with it. The old man stops twisting the beads with his fingers. The fire twinkles back at her in the bright blue reflection. It is a feeling all soldiers must learn to live with. Now I'm getting curious. Let's just say this one. Yeah, your decision changes what is yet to come. Lopera screamed in the middle of the station, demanding to know why she couldn't go to the front. The fall was colder than usual, and it was already snowing. I can still picture those white flakes that dotted her orange hair. As she yelled and protested, all the soldiers turned to look at us. So many familiar faces. I thought perhaps the message was meant that the war was ending, that we weren't needed there. But that was the last time I saw many of those faces. Some of them I once called siblings too. They went to war, we went home. Those were Father's orders. It wasn't long after that we received the first of the remains. Lopera dug the graves herself. It was snowing that day too. She feels a chill run down her spine, one that doesn't belong to the cold air around her, but to that distant memory. Fate brought me to my father, and then, one after another, brought others to our side. Okay, so yeah. I'm honestly not sure. Okay, so we unlocked the fifth one, and that has I guess you could call it a pathway to one ending. I'm not sure if I could choose another again, because I think I'm mixing up endings here and there. Alright. It's getting late. I appreciate you listening to me, sir. You are my guest. The lieutenant nods respectfully. The music has picked up again, a familiar song that brings a wave of cheers from the nearby revelers. Smoke rises up into the night sky before fading into the canopy of stars. May I ask that young lady over there if I could borrow the dombra? Of course. He raises his hands and claps the musician, noticing the gesture, stops playing, and walks over with the instrument in hand. The young commander wishes to perform a song for us. The old man calls out to the people in the yard. Please, I didn't mean to stop everything on my account. I suddenly feel as if I'm about to embarrass myself. She takes the instrument, testing the sound, and reacquainting with an old friend. Her soldiers gather around, eager to join in. Curious villagers trail behind, edging closer to the honored guest. You're gonna play a song, Lieutenant?
That's right.
I thought I might show you all that I can relax to. She sits down with the instrument facing the bonfire and the people waiting by it, and begins to play. Her voice, initially soft, rises into a clear and bright song, a memory of her homeland. Oh, golden summer, you've lingered too long. I don't think I can sing this, because I don't know how she will sing. Plus, this thing will pick up a little bit too much on me. I'm not sure. We lift our cups to the dwindling days. As she plays, several voices join in harmony, following and stumbling over the words. To salute the sun as it sinks away. Oh, golden years of youth, how fast you've gone. For cold winter's breath will find us in the dawn, reminding us to savor our days in the warmth of the sun. And I'm going to assume it's in another language. I do not know what Moldir's nationality is. So live and love while the night is young. She stood up without ever realizing it, losing herself in her song, as if she were lifted from time and space entirely. Alright, that's enough for now. She waves away the cheers of the crowd and promptly returns to Dumbra. It's been so long since I last played, I'd almost forgotten how. She offers a self-depreciating chuckle, shaking her head as her voice fades away. Go on, enjoy yourselves. At this, the crowd breaks out in laughter, and then begins to follow the musician as they resume the previous melody. As the crowd disperses, the old man approaches again. Do you think about her often? Now and then, but honestly, let's go with this. The lieutenant loses herself in thought, reflecting on the past until after a long pause, she speaks. When she joined us, things were a lot like this. We danced, we celebrated, and I remember playing that song for them as well. She's always been a fighter, from the moment we met. There is a difference between that and a soldier. Just like there's a difference between us. I suppose she was always going to grow up. My sister isn't the kind to feel helpless. She won't cry herself to sleep if I'm not there with her. She's a Sino soldier. The lieutenant stresses the words, her gaze firm. She made that choice for herself. We tried to force her down a path she couldn't follow. Sometimes I wonder if I had just explained things to her from the beginning. If I had said the right words, would she have chosen differently? Her tone is wistful. It catches her off guard to have let something so naive slip out. I don't know. She shakes her head. It wasn't that she didn't know. It's that she knew there was no answer. She's always lived according to her own rules, her own conscience. And I would never take that from her. A bitterness holds on her tongue as tart as the old man's almonds. Her sister's image feels faint and distant. She can't even recall the sound of her voice. What comes to her mind instead is the thundering rattle of gunfire. A sweltering afternoon, thick, humid air that clings to her skin, mixing with beads of sweat. She guides her sister's hand, telling her to aim at the target and not hesitate when pulling the trigger. Decisive and resolute. Just like her dice games, she could lose every time and never regret it, no matter how badly she lost. Perhaps while I was away, she really grew up. What is this? A letter. A brief message is placed on the lieutenant's desk. November 11th, 1920. Ceasefire on the Western Front. Your forces remain stationed at Ikohome, recruit. Prepare and await further orders. Their war is over, but mine isn't. She opens the window facing out toward the snow-covered mountains as they glimmer in the morning light. From a distance, she can see her new recruits, young people from the village, leading their horses to the river after their morning patrol. She idly twists a medal in her hand, not a mark of battle or a reward for service. It was one of a kind, a gift for the world #1 sister. I'm not sure if I will say, I hope I will see her somewhere on the Eastern Front. Or... Or, I hope she isn't anywhere near this Eastern Front. Honestly, I think Lopera might be on the Eastern Front. Let's see. Maybe she'll end up deployed to the Eastern Front. I don't know. Maybe they won't send her to the front lines again. But then again, who knows? Father is there after all. Her voice falls into a low rumble. She stares down at the rusted metal. Damaged and tarnished, she doubts it would survive in any attempt to amend it. Meanwhile, on the other side, she's nearing the end of a long interrogation, the final round. I've got nothing more to say. They're traitors, and he's gone. I don't know who's running their little rebellion now. It's Igor. He's alive. Our intelligence is certain of it.
Yeah, and?
What about Moldir? We haven't heard anything about her. Ever thought about going to the Eastern Front, soldier? She holds her silence for a long time. I'll go wherever I'm ordered to go. The blinds of the interrogation room are pulled open, and the dazzling light of day floods in. On this late fall afternoon, the sunlight slants into the cold, bare room. Lopera stands by the window, lifting a hand to shield her eyes as she squints toward the world outside. You said earlier that the storm has changed the era again. Yes, we're back in 1920, 71 years before the last reversion. Only for some reason, the Great War isn't over. The timeline, as we once knew, it has changed. War goes on. Lopera doesn't say anything further, her face tangled with emotion as she looks out toward an unreachable horizon. In the daylight, somewhere far across the world, The woman she worries for rides beneath the mountains, holding her reins in a firm grip. Fall in. The lieutenant's command cuts through the air. At the valley's edge, her soldiers wait, fully armed. The troop falls into formation, silently waiting for whatever order comes next. Forward. So what did I pick? I don't think I chosen something like that here. Hang on a second. Be right back. Okay, so I think I unlocked the second ending here. So I'm not sure what I should choose here, so let me review. Okay. Alright. Let's pick Adjutant. And probably this one as well. Let's say I still don't understand why. What was the other one again? Would it be yes often, I think? I think I would have to click yes often, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. And autumn. Let's try Easter Front. I still don't know how to unlock the first ending. Okay. Oh! Unlock ending 1. What did I even do? What did I even do? Logs. Hang on.
May I ask?
Okay. I just skipped over this, so let's look at this. On the other side, along the interrogation finally coming to a close, an unexpected visitor arrives as a letter is slipped in into her room. Sorry for the interruptions, but I have news for Miss Lopera. A Foundation staff member steps into the room and hands an envelope to Lopera. She opens it up and pulls out the contents in full view of everyone. No one stops her. Easter Front. Igor. She reads in silence. Her ever-easy smile falls away into frustration. She scans the page again and again, as if searching for another name. We thought it best to share this with you. Thank you. We haven't received any intelligence on former Lieutenant Moldir. That doesn't surprise me. If she's still alive, if she's somewhere out there, I just hope she doesn't come to regret her choices. Sounds like she did some work on us. Sounds like she did some work for us in Antarctica.
Sí, claro.
Is that so? If there's any news of her, I want to know first. We'll do what we can. Okay, so, yeah. You said earlier that the storm has changed the area again. Okay. So it was literally the change in dialogue. Like, so at first, like, she's in an interrogation room, like, just answering questions. And in the second, and this ending we just did now, that would have been the first ending. But since we've already completed all the endings here and there, I was like, I got confused on how to get ending 1 and 2. I think I did ending 2, but not ending 1. So, yeah, that's all there is to it. Yeah, and I was greatly confused on how I get the endings as well. I think, like I said, it was the choice of dialogue. Let's just say whatever I chose first would be the opposite, and I got greatly confused. So I think that's it. That is it for In the Shadow of the Mountains, and I just want to say thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you did enjoy the video. And if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like or dislike. And I'm gonna guess that in whatever event or Nova the chapter is gonna be, Lopera is gonna make her comeback, and I just know it. Like, maybe we'll see that day where she and Moldir will meet again, and of course, I think she's gonna go after Igor again as well. And I think he's counting on it. What an explanation, I would think. Still, I do not know what the boon's supposed to be anyway. Seems like he got tricked again. Really? And he just gives it to the timekeeper, which is funny and weird enough. So until Marsha's thing is over, and I think this one Into the Maelstrom might be next because I think that's Igor's thing, I believe. What the hell is our 8-bit arcade remix? Whatever it may be, we're gonna be continue on with it. So yeah, I did. I had no idea what ending I chose. I just chose some words and that's about it. Maybe I did the opposite way. Maybe I chose something that the dialogue choices were like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to put choices that were related to her military career. Like in the bonfire where she chose to either show a bit memories of Lopera or just memories of herself, I would assume. And I guess it doesn't really matter what choices you make in the third choice or fourth choice, I don't know. I just got confused in other ways. I really am confused. Until I saw, oh, I just did the ending there. I just got confused because I thought, oh, it'd be the same thing. So, yeah, until then, I will have to wait 2 more days until I think Igor comes out. But I still want to get Marsha for the satisfaction that she and Sentinel will be together. You know, why not? So, as I said before, thank you for watching. And if you wish to support my channel, please click the subscribe button and check out my YouTube channel for more of my content, whether it be horror games or any games like this. I would not mind if you guys take a look at it, take a watch it, share it with other people, and of course comment in which parts of the games that you see or parts of the video that you see is your absolute favorite, or which parts you want to comment on. Even I don't understand what I'm talking about right now. And I try to put together like what I can think of here. I just went along with the story and I'd like to read it. It's like me doing some storytelling while I'm playing this. And we gotten her things as well. So, okay. So if there's a, this is good. So if someone's a plant character, they have to cast a rank 3 incantation on this game might. Then if someone is a beast character, after they cast an ultimate, I might put this on her though. But then again, I forgot which one I have on her. But it's gotta be a beast type, and they have to cast an ultimate. Well, that's gonna be a bit wild since I don't know which beast character that uses her ultimate a lot. So until Igor comes out, I will end the video. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the video. So peace out, and have an awesome day, or an awesome night, or a good night. Take your time watching the video, and I'll be happy to hear from you guys. Bye!